Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you guys for joining me for a new video. Today's video is kind of requested since people found out that I was a revert and how many of you knew that I was. And since I announced that I was, I have received so many questions. So I felt like today was the day to do my revert story. So if you want to learn a little bit more about my story and my path to Islam, stay tuned. And I hope I can give some good advice to the people out there that are looking to convert to Islam and any new reverts. So before I get into this video, I want to say that I understand that I'm not a perfect Muslim, so if you don't like that and you're here to point that out about me, you can kindly exit my video because I'm pretty sure that we're all aware and I don't need your negativity on my video. So the number one question that is always asked to me is, how did I discover Islam? It's unfortunate to think about, but the only thing that I really knew about Islam was that many people associated it with terrorism because I don't have any Muslim family, so nobody was there to teach me better. So I just started to discover it more when I moved into the city that I'm living in. There's actually a mosque right down the street from me, and I was very intrigued. I always saw Muslims entering the mosque for like their daily prayers, and at the time I was a Christian. But yeah, I was seeing all these Muslims and it was very interesting because I didn't really know too much about them. I remember one day I was looking for some henna cones to do hand designs, and there was a lot of Islamic shops and Arabic restaurants in the area, so I figured that maybe one of them would have it. And I visited an Islamic bookshop right by the mosque, and I remember entering and everything was just so beautiful and peaceful and well put together, and I was kind of shocked because everything I heard before about Muslims was so negative. I always heard that Muslims were dirty, rude, and pushy, but coming in there was so shocking because it was the exact opposite. The people were so humble and friendly towards you and welcoming, and everything was just so nice and peaceful. So I was very surprised to see that. But I remember looking around at some of the books and clothing, and two older women came and approached me, and they were kind of confused about why I was in there and looking at the stuff, because I told them I wasn't a Muslim, I was just looking around. And since they saw that I was interested, they offered to teach me about Islam. They introduced me to some of their family members who owned a few businesses in the same neighborhood, and they also gave me some tours around the mosque and taught me about how Muslims prayed. So I was learning about it for a few weeks. And I remember one of those women asking me if I was interested in converting to Islam, and at the time I was like, no, I don't think this is the right thing for me. And her family always told me, we're not going to force you to do it. We're here for you regardless of whether or not you're a Muslim or a Christian. But if you ever feel that it's time for you to do it, we're here for you, and we will always be here to teach you about it. So it was about a month of me going like back and forth between yes and no. I was kind of like iffy. One side of me was like, go do it, and the other side was like, no. But I remember getting off of work one night and I was walking past and I was seeing everybody get together, and something in me just said, okay, this is the night, I think it's time, like you're gonna go do it. So I called the woman and her family and they met with me, and they were so excited for me, like they were so happy for me. And I remember them getting me all dressed up and they had me recite my Shahada. And I was so nervous at first because I thought people were going to judge me, like, what are you doing here? Like, you know, you're not welcome. But they were some of the nicest people. They were so welcoming. Some of the women actually gave me gifts, and they all like hugged me and joined around and congratulated me. So it was definitely a different experience from what I thought it was going to be. I made a few friends around my age a couple weeks after I officially became a Muslim, and I remember telling them, you know, a year ago from now, I would not have expected to be doing this. It's shocking how my state of mind changed that much. Like, I went from being ignorant and thinking a whole different thing about Muslims to actually being one. It was just like shocking to me to actually sit down and think about that. But I feel like it happened for a reason, and I was happy about it. But I did face a few challenges, obviously, because I was not wearing the hijab at the time, and much of my family didn't even know about it, so that was very hard for me because I felt like people weren't going to think it was the right decision for me. If you grow up with your family, obviously they're going to have their opinion about a change in you, so I was very worried about that. And I know I wanted to wear the hijab for a while because I felt like that was a big piece of me being a Muslim, you know, dressing modestly. But I was just so afraid about what they were going to say and if people were going to be rude and racist towards me, so I just went without wearing it for a while. So some of the scarves and dresses that the women gave me, I would have to hide because I was so scared, like I would hide it. This is kind of embarrassing, but I wouldn't even wash them. Like, I was so scared to have my mom like see them in my laundry or anything. So I would like hide any prayer mats or anything. I would hide them in my dressers. I would go for weeks, like literally weeks, without watching them because I was so scared. And whenever I left the house, I would have this little spot behind my house where I would just hide and look out for anybody watching me, and I would like put all of my clothing on and like run so nobody would see me wearing it because I was just so embarrassed. And then I would avoid any people that I know that would say anything like, what the hell are you wearing? And whenever I came back into the house, of course I did the same thing, and I would just like hide all my stuff before anybody saw me. So I did that for a while, like a few months. And then my mom actually saw some of my prayer rugs, and she was asking like, why do you need so many scarves? Like, it's summertime. But she came across some of the books that were in my room that were teaching me how to pray, and then she kind of figured it out. They weren't really judgmental about it. My younger siblings would make a couple comments. So after my mom found out, I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Like, I'm gonna go wear this. I was pretty modest beforehand, so the clothing wasn't very hard for me to transition into. I would understand if it was like a female who didn't really dress modest and she's just started wearing hijab. But me, I kind of always covered myself up, so putting on, you know, the headscarf part of it wasn't very hard for me. It was just me being very scared because I remember it was the beginning of school and I was going to see my friends for the first time when I started wearing it. So I was very scared about that, and to be honest, I actually lost a lot of friends. Like, a lot of people were freaked out and weirded out by me, and it hurt a lot, to be honest, because I knew that this was right for me. And then to have to experience the hurt of like losing people that you thought were really close to you because of something you really want to do in a new lifestyle was very, very hard to go through. I did go through a lot of Islamophobia. I've been confronted a few times because people don't like what I'm wearing. I've been threatened before, but I obviously don't tolerate threats or anything anymore. Like, I will handle that right away. But any Islamophobic comments or any, you know, stupid little ignorant remarks, I kind of just ignore it now because I know that I can't be a smart person and argue with an idiot. You're not really going to get them anywhere if they want to be hateful towards you. If there's anybody that's intrigued about Islam or they want to know anything about Islam, I will gladly teach them. I will teach non-Muslims, but if you want to be hateful towards me, I will just stay away from you. And to any Muslims out there that are facing Islamophobia, obviously if it's something that puts you in danger, you want to report it right away. But if it's just somebody being ignorant and stupid, just ignore them. People are going to test you, and part of being a Muslim is that you're going to be tested. If you really love being Muslim, I would say screw them. If you really love being Muslim and you love your religion, it shouldn't matter about what anybody else is saying. You know, they're just ignorant and they don't really know any better. So ignore them or teach them, and if they don't want to be taught, then that's their bad. I would also say don't force anybody to become a Muslim. You can educate them about it, but you don't have to pressure them, like say you have to be a Muslim, like this is the only way. You can still have an open mind and still believe in what you believe in. You don't have to be judgmental and say, you know, if you're a Christian, that's wrong, or you're Jewish, that's wrong. Everybody has their own beliefs. As long as they respect yours and you respect theirs, you can coexist with each other. People were also curious about how Ramadan was for me and fasting. So the first Ramadan I did not fast because I was new and I just felt like I wasn't ready for that yet. But I actually did fast this past Ramadan. It was kind of difficult, to be honest. It was very difficult, but most days I pushed through it, and if I couldn't do it, then I just couldn't do it, so I would just have to make up the days that I didn't fast. And I would say celebrating the holidays was the hardest because I would actually break down. Because I remember getting onto Instagram and everything at the time, and that's when my account started getting really big, and I was seeing all these other Muslims together with their families, and I just thought like, wow, like I'm a loser. I have no family to celebrate with me, and it was just very lonely and hard to go through. So yeah, that was very hard. But overall, it was not easy, and I'm not gonna lie to anybody that wants to become a Muslim. It's not an easy thing to do, especially in the time that we're in now. People are very judgmental, but I would say all the hardship that you're facing and that you're going through, you will look back at it one day, you'll just think of it as one of the best decisions you made. You can't appreciate anything good in life without there being anything bad. If you've never experienced anything bad in life, you will never appreciate anything good that has come to you. That's kind of how Islam was for me, because if I've never went through anything bad in any judgment while becoming a Muslim, I would have never seen how beautiful of a religion it is. And if I've never heard people around me talking mess about Islam, I would have never been intrigued enough to discover it. So never feel bad about your religion. And to any reverts, my number one thing I always tell myself is, yes, it is hard. It's still hard being the only Muslim in my family, but I always look at it like, I want my future children to be Muslim, and I will always have a good story to tell them. I've made a good change, and I'm going to start a new generation of Muslims in my families. If you didn't make the decision to become a Muslim, just think of the further generations that you wouldn't have taught and that you wouldn't have led to Islam. And you obviously became a Muslim for a reason, so you should be proud of that regardless of what people around you are saying. I'm not going to encourage anybody to leave Islam, but if you ever decide that anything is not for you and you decide to change something about yourself, as long as you believe that it's the best for you, it should not matter what anybody is saying. Whether you're Jewish, Christian, Hindu, it does not matter what religion you are. If you want to change something about yourself and you feel like it's going to benefit you, don't worry about what anybody else is saying around you. Because at the end of the day, all you really have is yourself and God, and you should worry about your relationship between God before you worry about what anybody else has to say around you. So I know that many people were surprised to find out that I was a new revert, and I hope that answered you guys' questions. If I didn't answer this thoroughly enough, I will be happy to do a part 2. If you have any requests, please comment or DM them to me. I hope I gave you guys some helpful advice. If you know anybody that is struggling with any problems dealing with Islamophobia or being a new revert, you can tag them or share this video and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. I hope you all are having a good day, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!